All right, let's dive into something that's a pretty big deal for anyone who writes code. GitHub Copilot is getting, well, it's getting a brain, a memory. We're talking about an AI that can actually observe, remember, and learn from your work. This one change could totally reshape how we all build software.
I mean, just think about that for a second. What if your AI pair programmer didn't just know about all the public code in the world, but it actually remembered the little quirks, the specific patterns, and all the unwritten rules of your project? That's the huge idea we're going to unpack.
To really get why this new memory system is so important, we have to start with the problem it's trying to solve. And I like to call it the AI with amnesia.
You know how it is right now. Pretty much every time you talk to an AI assistant, it's a blank slate. You open a chat, you feed it all the context, you get an answer, and then poof, all that context is gone. The very next question, you're starting from square one. It's like working with a brilliant colleague who has absolutely zero short-term memory. And the results of this are things we've all run into, right? You end up saying the same things over and over, you get suggestions that are kind of generic and don't really fit your project style, and you're constantly having to remind the AI about how your code base works. It all just adds up to a ton of friction and wasted time.
So, what's the fix? Well, GitHub is giving Copilot a real, persistent memory that actually grows and gets smarter with every single thing you do. So let's pop the hood and see what that actually means.
They're calling it cross-agent memory, and the key phrase to latch onto here is without explicit instructions. This isn't about you meticulously teaching Copilot what to remember. Nope, the AI learns organically, just by watching you work. And the really crucial part? This memory is shared across all the different places you use Copilot, in your editor, on the command line, even in code reviews.
But look, just storing information isn't enough. I mean, code is constantly changing, right? If you're not careful, a memory can go from being helpful to being a huge liability, like really fast.
And this is the core engineering puzzle they had to solve. What do you do when a coding standard changes? Or what if the AI learns something from a branch that ends up getting deleted? If the AI hangs on to that old, outdated info, it could start causing more problems than it solves. So the real trick is figuring out how to keep the memory accurate. And the solution they came up with is just so smart. It's called just-in-time verification. So instead of trying to constantly clean up old memories, Copilot checks them right when it needs them. So an agent pulls up a memory, but it doesn't just trust it blindly. It looks at the citation, the exact piece of code that created that memory, and it checks if that code is still there and still relevant. If it is, awesome, it uses it. If it's not, it just ignores it, or even better, it can correct it. The memory basically heals itself.
And this is a perfect example of what a memory actually looks like. See, it's not just some fuzzy concept. It's real, structured data. You've got the subject, the fact, that the API version has to match in the client, the server, and the docs, and then the proof, the citations, the exact file paths and line numbers. So when Copilot sees this, it can go and check those three spots in real time to make sure that rule is still true.
Okay, but I know what you're thinking. In AI, remembering things about my private proprietary code, that sounds kinda scary. And yeah, it would be, but they've built this with security and privacy at the very core. Memories never leave their repository, ever. They can only be created by people with write access and only used by people with read access. Your project's secret sauce stays in your project.
Now, we get to the part that is just so powerful. This isn't just about one little agent remembering one little thing. This is about what happens when all the different agents start collaborating, using this single shared brain. It's a true network effect.
So let's walk through a story. Imagine your code review agent is looking over a PR from a senior dev. It notices a new, specific way that logs are being formatted. So it says, aha, that's a new convention. And it stores that observation as a memory, citations and all.
So then, a little bit later, a different developer asks the coding agent to help build a new service. That agent sees the task, finds the memory about the new logging rule, verifies it's still good, and bam, it automatically uses the correct format. The developer didn't even have to know or ask. That knowledge just got transferred from one teammate to another through the AI.
And the chain reaction keeps going. Later that day, a developer is trying to debug something from the command line. They ask the Copilot CLI for help, and guess what? That agent also knows the logging convention from that same shared memory, so it can instantly point them to the right log files. One piece of knowledge, learned by one agent, is now making the entire team faster and more consistent. That's the power of a shared brain.
Okay, so the theory is amazing, right? But the real question is, does it actually work in the real world? Well, GitHub ran a bunch of A/B tests to see what the actual impact was. So let's look at the numbers.
For the coding agent, the results were, frankly, stunning. When developers were using Copilot with memory, their pull requests got merged 90% of the time. Without memory, it was 83%.
That's a 7 percentage point lift. In the world of developer productivity, that is a huge statistically significant win. It means developers are getting the right code, the code that actually gets merged, way more often on the first try. That saves so much time.
And these improvements weren't a fluke. They popped up across the board. The code review agent got more positive feedback. Its suggestions got more precise. The data is really clear on this. A Copilot with a memory isn't just a cool idea. It actually delivers real, measurable results.
So, what does this all mean for the future? Well, it really signals a big shift from us using AI as a simple tool to us working inside an ecosystem of collaborative AI agents.
Now, this is all just getting started. The technology is in a public preview right now, which means GitHub is watching, listening, and tweaking it based on what real users are saying. The plan is to roll it out even wider and keep finding new ways for the memory to be created and used. This is just page 1.
And that really brings us to the final thought here. We're going from an AI that just answers our questions to one that actually learns from experience, that shares its knowledge, and becomes an active participant in how we build things. So, I'll just leave you with this to think about. How is your day-to-day going to change when your AI is no longer just a tool you use, but a true collaborator that's growing and learning right there with you?